Creative Katie here with Mixed Media Tidbits and Tips, and today we're going to the green category of the prompt sticks, and it says that would be adding pattern. It says use washi tape to create borders, and I put use jelly print, but any colored paper will work. I am going to admit I do not own a single roll of washi tape, and nor do I plan on buying one. If you have washi tape, you can not do this, but you might want to create your own. What I'm going to do is use my jelly prints to create borders. So I have here just a selection of jelly prints that I have, and they're nice enough as they are, and I could use them. But we're going to add some detail to these jelly prints with stamps and stencils before we go to the paper cutter and cut them into strips that we can then use as borders or in replacement of washi tape. And just have to adhere it with matte medium or Mod Podge or something very similar. So on this page, first we're going to do some stamping, and I'm going to grab my Stays On and just add. So I'm going to use some of my background stamps, and some of my favorite background stamps is this dot stamp. It came on a block and I removed it from the block so that I could use it. My script stamp, which is well used, and actually I'm going to be attempting to take that off the block as well. And my foliage stamp that I have, that I've used for, and this is from Stamp Pandas. I bought it at Michael's. Actually, I think all of these were purchased at Michael's. So I'm just going to do a little bit of that, and I'll just show you. So using the stamp pad, again, you just want to get it on, and you're just putting it randomly. And I'm adding that little bit of dot. I'm not too worried because I'm not going to be using the whole page. I'm going to just use parts of this when there's strips. So we can do that. We can, if you are inclined, you can use your Posca pens or your white Uniball Signo or black pen and doodle. I'm not a doodler, so I'm not going to do that because, you know, be true to yourself. That's, you know, that's not something that I do. Another thing that I do quite a bit is I have some stencils, and I am just going to use them with acrylic paint and stencil on to the background in whatever color I want. And I think I'm just going to go black, just for, I'm thinking that that would show up the best here. So I'm just using my cheap acrylic paint. I could use my Liquitex if I want, but I find for stenciling. And I'm putting paint in it and getting it out. And again, I can put this all over, or I could just put it in spots. Because when you cut it, that's when the magic really happens. Had a little bit too wet there. So you can add that. You can do it with different colors, right? You're only limited by your imagination. One of my favorite things to do with my script stamp is using gold paint. And you could have the craft gold paint. I just ran out of that because it's my very favorite thing to do. And I'm just going to apply it. This adds so much texture, and you get that little hint of gold going through it. Now here's where I think not having the block would be better. It's very imperfect. But you get that little bit of gold through it. see if we can pick that up in the camera. You can see the little bits of gold. I'm just gonna put a little more here. And you can use acrylic paint with your stamps. The only thing you need to remember is to clean them. And I just get a toothbrush and my mixture of dish soap and Murphy's oil soap, and I clean it that way. So yeah, you can really see it in the detail. So that's going to add a nice flavor to the border. I'm going to maybe do this with some gold, just to get some different effects here. I'm just trying to show you on all there, on all of them. You can use different colors of paint. You can use different colors. This stamp is another one that I find I use a lot. It makes some very, very nice additions. The blue is not quite showing up enough for my taste. So look at your stamps, because you're going to cut them apart. So anything with swirls, snowflakes, it's all going to add to the final border. So I'm just going to finish this up off camera. I'm going to add more stamps and stencils, and then we'll be back to cut it and use it. Okay, so I have both of my papers done up. On this one, I use some black paint through the stencil, some black paint on my foliage block, and some hot pink with this stamp. And so you can see all the luscious color that's there. So then you can decide how big you want or how wide you want your borders. So, which is the advantage. You're not stuck to whatever you purchased. Now, I'm in awe of the people that are scrapbookers or card makers, because they can use these cutting tools, then it looks so effortless and so easy. Me, not so much, but. So we can just cut. Oops, get that straight. If you want to see someone doing doodling on jelly prints that you could use this, one of the best doodlers I've seen is Cat Hand, and she's got lots of videos, so check her out. So we have that. So I'm going to do this side. I've got lots of interest here, so I'm going to just cut off part of this. And I'm sure you don't need to watch me do this, but you know. Can you use scissors to do this? Absolutely. You do not need to have a cutter. Don't rush out and buy something that you don't need. In fact, I'm going to show you one other way. Now, before we go on, so let's imagine that's your page. And look at the lovely border that you have for your page that you can do. I'm going to see if I can zoom in. You know, and you can cut these any color and use them, you know, embellish your jelly prints. Sometimes you like them the way they are, sometimes we don't. But they take on a life of their own once they're all cut out as well. I'm just going to zoom in so you can see the beautiful, beautiful colors that are there. One of the things that I did with my jelly prints, I cut up all my little pieces and I made my box, zoom out, for my found objects to make marks and texture tools. And I just Mod Podged them on, just layered upon layered upon layered, and that's worked wonderfully well. So before you go, I'm just going to do one more quick thing, just because it occurs to me. I purchased some funky rulers from the dollar store, and they've got curves, different kind of curves and designs. So if I want a border that has some difference to it, I can just easily trace that. Don't have the ruler? Get some plastic cutting boards, dollar store, cut out the shape, and then you have a ruler that you can use for multiple purposes. I'm going to cut that out and I will be... Just so I'm going to save myself cutting time, I have this jelly print and I have this jelly print, and I redid the lines in darker because I could not see them. I'm going to layer it on top and I'm going to cut once and have 2 or 3 borders. So the sky's the limit if you can imagine the shape and the design and how much fussy cutting you want to do. But I never do one layer. I'm a teacher and I've cut out so many things that I've created for my kindergartens and grade 1s, learning activities and bulletin boards, that pretty much I'm done with the fussy cutting. But if I'm going to cut, I'm going to figure out a way to do it to minimize the time. So I'm just going to get a piece of paper so you can see. I mean, wouldn't this make a lovely design? Oh my goodness. Forget borders. Just think what you could make. So, making your own borders, designs with jelly prints, making your own washi tape, done. Only limited by your imagination. Thanks for watching.